Well, I would like to thank y'all for being here. This is my first local media day, so I appreciate always your time and for covering us. As we know, it's an exciting time of year for basketball. We get to open up a week from Friday at November 9th at 5:30, and I think our season ticket sales are very close to 2,100. Based off of obviously some non-successful seasons recently. We're really pleased with that turnout. We want to thank our fans and get that messaging out as well for believing and trusting in the movement and the process and the changes that are taking place. And we're really excited about the fact that 2,100 people are believing in what we're doing here without having seen a single game. Our team has been working extremely hard and committed to the cultural change that we've implemented for many months now. And we're just really excited. I know they are to play against somebody else and to really get going here on November 9th.
Hey, Coach.
Could you just kind of explain the movement and what the emphasis is on that and what you see with that?
Yes, a few things. I think one of the things that really stands out in us introducing the movement is really just the cultural shift of the transformation that it takes to become winners, and the mentality and the work ethic and the consistency and drive daily that it takes to be winners and a winning team and a winning program again. So at the very basic level, we had to implement that right away. So that we can then build into bigger things. So that's something we've built off of. Another part of the movement that is very crucial is being able to get your existing players, primarily that we inherited, to believe in something bigger and greater than themselves daily, and that by buying into this change of behavior daily, they will see the results, and we will see measurable results daily and also on game days.
Don't know what specifics you can go into about the scrimmage, but what were your takeaways from that?
I'm sorry, what's
Just
the
the
question?
takeaways from the scrimmage, the closed-door scrimmage.
We can't speak about the close scrimmage, yeah.
Any general takeaways from that?
I can talk about practice.
Sure.
Yeah. So, again, I just would say that the way our team has been, we're challenging them. I'll be very upfront about that. It's part of the shift is to challenge them to be better, to work harder, to do things that maybe they haven't even done before, but that they're very, very capable of doing. One of the things I tell our young women daily is that I promise you, we're never going to ask you to do something that you cannot do. Things that we control is something that we're really focusing on. We can control going and boxing out, for example. We can control putting in extra reps on shooting and things of that nature. So those are things that we really have talked a lot about, and that they're really starting to see the results in those areas as an example.
There's been a lot of transition at the guard positions from last year's team. Can you talk about who's kind of emerged at those positions and what you're expecting out of them against Jacksonville State?
Well, someone that has shown early on that she's adapting well is our freshman, Chrislyn Carr. She is the only freshman on our entire team, and that's hard, to be the only freshman. But I like how she's adapting, like her speed and quickness, her ability to defend is very solid. So she's someone who I think we'll look for to run the point quite a bit for us. In addition, we have some experience at that position and the guard position as a whole with Angel Hayden, who's already been here and played through the Big 12 and knows what that's about. And then you have another newcomer in Maya, who has been able to really adapt and knock down a lot of shots for us, and she's learning the defensive philosophies more and more daily and those sorts of things. But she's someone that we're looking to count on consistently as well. And then you have someone, Sydney Goodson, who obviously set out, transfer from Arizona State, who we would like to really come along for us as well.
Yeah, I want to talk about Maya, the local kid, and by all reports, she's really excited to be here. Can you tell me about how you found her and how she's adapting to high-level basketball and to do it at a school she supported growing up?
Well, and you'll have a chance, I know, to talk to her here in a little bit, but, this is her childhood dream, and it's awesome being able to bring a West Texas kid here who had the dream when they were a little girl growing up to play here and came to every camp and was just really part of the glory days in her youth and knows what that's like. She will probably claim that she's accounting for probably 1,000 of those season tickets, but I do know that she'll have a big following here locally and a lot of people that are anxious to watch her play. So we're excited to have her here and to be able to bring her home.
Hey, Coach, how have the older and upperclassmen impacted the younger ladies on the team?
Well, great question. I think the one person that sticks out to me is our lone senior, Zuri. I think, just the transformations that she has made in the short 5 months or so that we've been working on the floor with her and in the weight room and with conditioning and in all those different areas. We're really looking to count on her to be someone who could potentially give us a double-double each game. She's one of our best rebounders as a guard. We know she can play both forward positions, but in our system, we really treat the three more like a guard. And then I think that her leadership, her voice, any practice that you walk into, you're going to hear her above everyone else. She wants to have a great senior year. She deserves to have a great senior year. I've assured her we're going to do everything in our power to help with that piece, but she has to do her part and help mentor these other players who are new to the program, who don't necessarily know what it's like to battle through a Big 12 season and to go on the road and play in some of these environments and things like that. But I think her voice alone, combined with her work ethic, has really been impactful to all of our newcomers.
And it's early on, obviously, so it may be a little too soon to tell, but what is like a common theme or something about your team that has really stuck out to you and impressed you, whether it be work ethic, attitude, approach, whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think showing up every day with a different pace that we're requiring and just having that open mind to believe in something that they don't know what the result's going to look like. I think that's hard. Change is hard for anybody. And I think, but just to show up each day and to say, hey, we've got it. We're going at this different pace. We, had a big accomplishment recently in practice with one of our drills, which I won't get into the particulars of it, but it's something we've been working on for months now. And we finally reached, the goal in which we were looking at or trying to go for. And I think those victories, albeit however small they may seem to the outside world, those small victories in the big picture and big scheme of where this program is headed are going to pay just major dividends.
Coach, being the new head coach for this team, you've obviously learned a lot about them as you've been around them, as you've gone through practice. As we get close to the season, just before the season and those first couple games, what will you be really looking for to find out about your team?
I think being able to bring all those pieces and things that they've worked so hard on in the last few months into a real live game setting. Because, again, that's going to be one new step of new for them. Now we're going to apply and implement this fast-paced style of play, very strong rebounding style of play, into a game setting in front of, as we say, all the bright lights and cameras and all the fans and everybody's watching. And I think that's the next step for them. That's the next challenge for them. That's the next immediate thing that's coming up here their way. And it's exciting. I tell them, you practice 300 and some days a year to play in 29 guaranteed contests in a regular season. And when you really put it in perspective like that, you see their mouths drop quite a bit and things like that because they don't think of it like that. But, when you're out on the track running in the heat of June in West Texas, you're doing that so that you're playing in March. And that's a mentality that we're obviously putting in, and we're building towards that in the big scheme of things. But that's something that we talk about. We don't shy away from that because it's not something that, we're going to wait 4 years before we're talking about going to an NCAA tournament. Now, we're going to be realistic. And is that in the cards this year? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. That's not something that we sit on very long. But what we are talking about is daily progress and daily success and daily wins that we can get. And I think that's a big area that we've implemented here as well.
Coach, when you came in, you were talking about bringing an up-tempo style offense, putting on the ball up. How have these girls changed from last year to this year and adapted to that?
Running. In its simplest form, actually moving and running. There was a lot of, with the returners, they were used to a different pace, a slower pace. That's the style that they played. We obviously want our guards to really move up and down the floor in a structure and organization that is hard to go against. We are constantly wanting to put pressure on the defense by them having to guard us. And that's a philosophy, that's a mentality. And it's easy sometimes to be a guard and just jog down a lane or something like that. What we've done is, no, we're going to sprint, and then we're tracking that sprint with a Zephyr system that is a computer chip that they wear in their sports bra that tells us their sprint steps and their recovery time and how hard they're going and their heart rate and all kinds of things like that. So now we have some data that also backs up what we're looking to achieve, and we have goal numbers in those areas that we can track and make sure that they're moving at that pace.
Who are some of the shooters that have stood out, either in practice or in other opportunities that can consistently make threes or consistently get the shots that they're looking for?
Yeah, and as we work on this transformation and we're in the early stages of it, we won't look 100% like we ultimately will look, but we're heading that direction. So a couple of the players that have been able to knock the ball down consistently from long range for us is the freshman Crystalline Carr. Maya, again, has really done that at a high level for us. And then we're looking at Sydney Goodson to be able to hit the three ball for us at a high level. So those three primarily will be asked to shoot the three ball for us the most.
Along those lines, Coach, what's a good shooting percentage from three-point that you guys have as a goal?
Yeah, so we actually typed this up and put in, because one of the big things I take to heart in this position is teaching them things, and that's one of the things that we educate on is what are those percentages. For us in how we play in a game, 33% from the three-point line will be an acceptable percentage for us. We would absolutely, anything higher than that is gravy, so to speak, but that's a minimum game shooting percentage consistently that we will allow someone to have the green light from that range.
You mentioned those three. Are any others going to be asked to do that? I know Zuri hit 5 last year. Is that something she'll be asked of, or is she more of mid-range, get to the basket type person?
Yeah, I don't think as a senior with Zuri and only being here a few months that that's something we're going to be able to really transform. We're not going to ask her to really shoot from long range. That's not her game. We're going to allow her to maintain that mid-range look, and also she can drive the ball as well as any guard we have on our team, and she drives it with speed, but also physicality that I think makes her hard to guard at that position. You put a guard on her and she is strong. Her brother played football at Florida State. I mean, she has that strength about her that a lot of guards don't possess. And when she gets deep at the basket, she's hard to stop one-on-one. And we've really been focusing a lot on that and really letting her play her game that way. Brittany Brewer is someone that we will allow to shoot the three ball. That's new. She's in a position that she's open. We've told her that she can shoot that. Is it a big scheme in terms of schematic of our offense? No, not really. But if she's open out there, we'll certainly let her shoot that as well.
Is there a particular, not to get too far in the game plan, but is there a particular number of threes that you guys would like to shoot? I know if you're moving up and down the court, it's going to be a lot more than last year anyway, no matter what.
We've 6+ makes a game is a number that I've previously used. We've not put a number out to our team this year with that goal in mind. For us right now, it's if you're open and we've told you have the green light, then you're going to shoot it, and the other stuff will come later. So we don't really particularly have a season game goal for right now from the three-point line.
I guess you kind of covered this a little bit, but what are some of the things that maybe you're happy about a week and a half or whatever from the season opener, and some of the things that you're not necessarily worried about, but you really need to work on before tipping things off?
I think anytime you're taking over a program that's been down is that you celebrate the little victories and each step that you're making. It's kind of the whole philosophy of you have to crawl before you walk, you have to walk before you run. You have to jog before you sprint, and I think that's how we're looking at this. We're looking at each one of those small victories that we're having daily in practice, those improvement areas that we're making. We're celebrating those, and we're looking to make progress daily. That's the most important staple of our program right now, is that every single day that we're making progress.
Last one from me. I know it's a week and a half away, but do you kind of have an idea of a starting five? And off of that, how many ladies would you like to see in a rotation going forward?
Yeah, so we don't have a agreed upon starting 5 at the moment. We're still hashing that out. I still want them competing for it. I think we're close at a lot of positions, but I don't think that we have it locked down completely for the entire 5. And they know that. It's not something that's secretive even in our locker room. But we're looking for them to continue to compete and fight it out and really see who wants to be out there the most on game day, and most importantly, who's earned the right to be out there. We talk a lot about that as well. We earn the right to do a lot of things in life. You earn the right to win. No one's going to just let you win. We've also talked about a lot of teams in our non-conference schedule. We are the biggest game of the year for them, and there is a bullseye on your back. You are Texas Tech, and we're in the Big 12, and we're representing not only Texas Tech but our conference in these non-conference games, but we are the biggest game on their schedule. This is their Final Four. This is their national championship game, and you have to have a mentality, even though on the schedule some of these schools are smaller and different things like that, that our team understands that, hey, they're coming at us, and you have to be ready for that.
Besides some of the stats that you're looking to hit in these games, if you break down the schedule in quarters in this first group of games, what are your expectations or goals for this group?
When we look at the quarters, we have defensive goals and things that we focus on per quarter, rebounding goals, things like that. I think that our team's getting used to that. Even rest ratios we're big on. Something we've adjusted at home, since you all cover home games, is when we're not on TV, the timeouts will go a lot faster than maybe you're accustomed to. We don't want long gaps and long breaks on non-TV games. Part of our strategy is to get up and down the floor and to not have big breaks, because when it gets to the fourth quarter, one of the things that we feel that we're superior on is our conditioning, and that's something that really comes into play, and you start seeing separation. So that's something that we're focused on as well per quarter, especially getting into the fourth quarter.
Coach, could you talk about the transformation of Erin DeGreat and what she's been going through?
Yes, that's a big one. I think with Erin, we want Erin to be in game shape, and I think that conditioning-wise has been a big challenge for her, but something that she's been a part of previously at Louisville, quite frankly. And what we're looking at is to get her in that level of conditioning and shape to perform and play the way we want to. I think that Erin obviously knows that. I think that she has made tremendous strides, to her credit, tremendous strides. And I think that when you see Erin on game day, you're going to see someone at her height and size that's really moving up and down the floor, that's really able to maneuver and use. Erin's very athletic, and she has probably the quickest footwork of any big kid that I've coached, and I say from the waist down. So we're looking to really utilize her and get her a lot of shots and looks at the basket, and based off of her hard work ethic and stuff, I think she has a shot to really do some nice things for us this year.
And then one other person that was on the team last year but was out to the transfer is Tiha. Can you talk about her a little bit and what you've seen from her?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Tiha, is really adapting to our system, I'll say, and we need her to be probably a little bit more disciplined daily to really latch on to things that we're asking her to do. The opportunity for her to play is very high. The one thing I like about her game is versatility to play multiple positions. She could play anything from the 3, 4, or 5 position, depending on who we're playing in a particular game and our strategy that night. Now, we're not going to play her at the 5 against Baylor. That's not really what we're looking for. But some of these non-conference opponents, you might see her play that position. But really, we're really focused with her on just being disciplined in the system and staying within the system. And because athletically, she has all the tools in the world to really be good for us.
And is there anybody that you haven't mentioned that has surprised you, whether it's someone that you've brought in or someone that you inherited?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Brittany Brewer is someone that has very high potential. We've seen a transformation in just her body since we've been here, with her strength and conditioning focus. And then when you get on the court and and you look at her opportunity to score at the basket, or we've expanded it all the way out to the 3-point line. I think that versatility with her size and height and her ability to play the 4 or the 5 position for us is something that's been a bright spot since our arrival. I do think also she's one of the returners who had big buy-in upon our arrival and still does in terms of being a voice, probably a little bit more off the court than on the court. She's kind of a quiet leader, but someone who likes to lead by example as well.